Hey, sports history fans, this is Ariel Gonzalez from Wrestling with Heels On. Hey, when you go to a sporting event, you don't go there to be meek and mild, unless you live in Japan. You go there to get freaking wild. That means bringing some attitude to your amplitude. How do you do that? You get Racket. R-A-K-I-T. Racket combines a compact 7-inch megaphone, 8 powerful adjustable LED lights, noisemakers, an insert you design, and it's all fully customizable to match your team's colors. Now here's the coolest thing about this product. J.J. Abraham, the founder, was the ultimate cheer dad. He followed his daughter's cheer group around the country, and he saw parents struggling using all sorts of crazy contraptions to make some noise for their kids. And then he had an aha moment. He thought, wait, why not combine all of these doodads into an all-in-one compact device for the ultimate fan? JJ and his team worked 3 years on developing version after version after version until they finally landed on Racket, R-A-K-I-T, so you can make some noise and cheer and be a part of the action. So get out there and let's get loud. Bring a racket to your next game or competition to cheer on your favorite team or athlete. You can customize your racket with your own logos, drawings, and names. Get beads to match your team's colors. Flashing lights add to the excitement. Are you ready to make a racket? Be part of the game. Each racket pack comes with 1 racket megaphone, 1 lanyard to keep a hold of the thing, 2 scratch-resistant bead packs, 1 clear and 1 color of your choice, and a 10-pack of customizable self-adhesive inserts. Currently on sale, wait for it, $24.99. To pick up your racket today, head to myracket.com. That's myraket.com. Now get out there and make some noise.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Now, live and direct from the press box at Old Comiskey Park, it's time for When Football Was Football. Let's join your host, Joe Ziemba, with another forgotten tale from Chicago's pro football history. Let's go!
Thank you, and welcome back to When Football Was Football here on the Sports History Network. It was a long week and a long wait for the Chicago Cardinals as the club waited for an Eastern Division playoff result to determine which team would play the Cardinals for the 1947 NFL Championship. And now, 75 years ago to the day, we continue our mini-series on the 1947 Chicago Cardinals Championship quest here on the Sports History Network. I'm your host, Joe Ziemba. After handily defeating the Chicago Bears 30-21 on December 14th to grab the Western Division title, the Cardinals learned that Pittsburgh and Philadelphia were deadlocked atop the Eastern Division, and the aforementioned playoff would be held in Pittsburgh on December 21st. Although the two Eastern foes had split a pair of games earlier in the season, it appeared that the Steelers might have the advantage since the game would be played in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers had also completed their season a week before and enjoyed some valuable time off from the NFL battlefield. But no one was openly confident, including team owner Art Rooney of the Steelers. When asked by the Pittsburgh Sun-Telegraph about his team's chances in the upcoming battle, Rooney simply replied, "Gee, I don't know. I'm hoping. Ever since I've been in the league, I've been wanting to win the Eastern Championship, and I'd certainly like to make it this time." While the Cardinals continued to practice in Chicago during the off week, mostly to keep in shape, it was very difficult to prepare for the championship clash, not knowing who the opponent might be. In order to lessen the information gap about the possible opponent, Coach Jimmy Councilman and the other members of the Chicago Cardinals staff decided to attend the Eastern Division title game and personally scout both teams, just in case. Joining Councilman would be team president Ray Benningson, business manager Arch Wolf, and assistant coach Phil Handler. The Cardinals team members also took care of some personal business in a very classy manner by deciding to award a full share of their postseason earnings to the widow of halfback and punter Jeff Burkett. Burkett, a promising rookie, had passed away October 24th in a plane crash after being hospitalized in Los Angeles with an appendectomy. Meanwhile, the country was beginning to learn more about Coach Councilman, the unique and energetic mentor of the Cardinals. Long known for his dry wit and sense of humor throughout the football universe, the appearance of his team in the title game brought Councilman a bit more into the mainstream limelight. A wire service article captured some of the essence of Councilman, especially with his reputation for being a player's coach who would do anything for his team members except berate them in public. One example told a tale about Councilman sending a substitute into a game, but the confused player was sent right back to the sidelines by his teammates, telling the coach, "They say they don't want any substitutes." Well, Councilman considered that message, then told the player, "Get back in there and tell them you're not a substitute. They've been playing with 10 men the last 2 minutes." Back in Philadelphia, Eagles coach Greasy Neal entertained his team the day before the Eastern Division title game by hosting a lengthy film review session of the previous contest with the Steelers. The Courier-Post newspaper reported that the viewing last night took more than 3 hours as members of the team asked to have scene after scene repeated in order to check on certain Steeler maneuvers. The film study obviously worked, for the Eagles seemed to anticipate every move made by the Steelers during the Eastern Division title tilt on December 21st. Behind the accurate throwing arm of quarterback Tommy Thompson and the powerful running of Steve Van Buren, the Eagles struck early and never headed in a 21-0 domination of the Steelers. Thompson completed 11 of 17 passes for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said, "Thompson completely outsmarted the home defense. The pass defense was terrible." Although newly crowned NFL rushing leader Steve Van Buren was held in check to the tune of 45 yards on 18 carries, he also hurt the Steelers with a 15-yard scoring reception to open the scoring in the first quarter. And when in need, Van Buren picked up needed short yardage. His performance was so impressive that Pittsburgh coach Jock Sutherland remarked, "Take Van Buren out of there and the Eagles won't have the same team." But they were the better team today. He's just too much ball player for anyone to handle for a whole game. Eagles coach Greasy Neal was short and sweet in his post-game evaluation, saying, "I thought they'd dent us more than they did, but they fought like hell all the way." In the loud and joyous Philadelphia locker room, Neal faced a possible player uprising that he was very pleased to address. Amid cries of "Bring on the Cardinals" and "Champs at last," Neal was a bit unnerved when the chants moved from "Bring on the Cardinals" to "Bring on the beer." Apparently, the thirsty Eagles were ready to celebrate, but the stoic coach Neal reminded his team that there was more work ahead and urged the boys not to break training even for a whiff of a brew. Well, center Alex Wojciechowski said, "Please, coach, can't we just have one bottle?" And Curly relented a little bit and responded, "All right, but on your word of honor and not more than 2 bottles each." With that requirement understood, everyone on the squad raised their hand to support the coach's mandate that the level of beer sampling would not exceed 2 bottles each. The Eagles then departed for the train ride back to Philadelphia to begin preparations for the Cardinals. Owner Art Rooney of the Steelers, while dismayed, offered his congratulations to the Eagles and their veteran coach in the Philadelphia Inquirer, saying, "I'm sort of glad to see Greasy do it, even though we lost. Greasy's one of my champs." Over in Pittsburgh, the Post-Gazette was unable to hide its disappointment by stating, "Not even a Santa Claus, 4 days before Christmas, could help the Steelers Sunday." But now the Cardinals knew their opponent, a club they had defeated both in the preseason, 38-21, and during the regular campaign, 45-21. Would the third meeting be just as successful, even on the big stage of the NFL title game? Not so fast, cautioned Luke Johnsos, the assistant coach of the Bears, who said, "The Eagles are really rolling now. The Cards will have to be on their toes or they'll get rocked back on their heels." Please join us on December 24th for our next episode of When Football Was Football, as we journey back to that date 75 years ago to check in on the plans for both the Eagles and the Cardinals prior to the 1947 NFL Championship battle scheduled for December 28th. Thank you.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com. Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.